Hi, this is Xolji Media, coming right back at you guys, damn it, with love, peace, and an overall view of harmony. So, before I continue, there's two things I want to say. Today's lecture or conversation will be aimed towards the quote that I'm just now making up of the original hypocrite. The original hypocrite versus the future hypocrite, which is today's time. So that's the first thing I wanted to get out the way. The second thing I wanted to get out the way is that today you might hear a little bit of background noise, and that's because right now I'm walking down the street and there's many cars going past me, but I felt this very strong sense to just share this message right now, because I feel like right now is the best time that I could express it, because this information is very fresh on my head. So please, if you hear a lot of background noise, just know it's cars, okay? Try to focus in on my voice. Okay, right now, there is a huge misunderstanding of belief. Before this lecture / conversation is over, my goal is to make sure that Xolji Media's and pretty much every belief system's goal of overall harmony is reached, at least on some level. Whatever person is receiving this, they will receive this message on some level. That there is no difference between belief systems. Now, I will begin this by deciphering what we see as different when it comes to beliefs. In today's world, we have many popular religions. We are broadcasted the same ones repetitively: Christianity, Islam, Judaism, Buddhism, Hinduism, a lot of Eastern philosophies, see? And this has all been planned out. I don't want to sound like a conspiracy theorist, but we're past the point of labeling people things like that. So right now in this very day and age, there's a very strong push in propaganda in order to combine the religious doctrine of the Western Europeans or Asians, which is Europe, and to combine the Eastern philosophies and lifestyle with the Western religions. And I can't remember the specific title of this attempt, but as over time we see that a lot of these religions in a Western sense are losing their original doctrine. They have no connection to the original doctrine in which they put their beliefs in. So the people who are controlling our environment, outside of our own selves, of course, they are aware that this is happening, and they need a new form of control tactics to keep division between the masses of people, but also to keep people under control so that they will only fight each other and they will never point the finger at the true problem. So right now what's being attempted to happen is a very tricky thing. They're trying to join together Western religion with Eastern philosophies to create the ultimate slave system, okay? Now, every time you have a belief system, that belief system is set in place as a comfortable spiritual vessel, okay? Okay? So you are creating your own being inside of yourself every time you accept a belief system. It's a system, just like the whole system on your body is a system, okay? You're part of that now. And in order for most of these religions, especially in the Western world, to exist, which we all are influenced by in today's time in one way or another, especially in the Western world, where we have this sense of pride in what we believe in. Okay? So with this pride, you will have a very strong sense of having to defend what you believe in. And that, in a way, that is what pushes the belief in it itself. The pride and the arrogance to say what I believe in is so dominant that everyone else that I come across in life and every other being that I come across in life shall subject themselves to this belief. Now, when you have that mind state, you would obviously begin to see the outer world as something that is yours, because you're a part of this doctrine which tells you that the outer world is yours. You're part of this doctrine that allows you to believe that what you're believing in is omnipotent. It stands alone in your whole reality as truth, okay? Now, when this is the case, you automatically have to have an enemy, okay? For example, one of the only ways in history that has been proven to work to build an actual nation and to make tribes come together to build an actual country or a nation or a state is fear or an enemy, okay? You have to have this enemy in order to scare all the citizens and scare all the people in the tribe to protect themselves so that they will come together and together they will feel stronger and they won't have to fear the opposite of what they are, or the people who are trying to invade them. So with the enemy in place, any nation or any system is automatically given life. Before there's an enemy, that is just a story. It has nothing to do with reality. Any philosophy or belief, if there is no enemy in it, that is just a system in which a story has been relayed from one person to another, and it is up to the receiver of that information to decide whether it's real or not, in terms of a probability, meaning how likely is it that if I use this, that I will get the same results as that other person. It's not something that you could actually take and spread in a way where people will be able to use this information to bring people together. In many ways, philosophies are nothing but individualist belief systems, okay? And religions are more of a collectivist belief system. So, in reality, when a Christian walks up to any other religion, and vice versa, when an Islam walks up, any Western religion that walks up to another form of philosophy or belief, they see that as their enemy. They might be friendly, they might be helpful to you, they might be glowing and loving, but you are their enemy in belief. Because, according to their doctrine, literally anything that is not their doctrine is evil, okay? Now, knowing that you need this, in a way, the Christian needs the devil in order for Jesus to have his light. Imagine this. If Jesus came down here and everything was straight, you feel me? Imagine if Jesus came down here, there was no trouble, everybody was on the same level as him, okay? Everybody was on the same spiritual level and conscious level as Jesus Christ when he supposedly came down to this earth. The whole experience that he would experience would have been completely different. There would be no Christianity to this day. There would be no need for it. So in order for Jesus to actually have some prominent name, he had to be cast down in a world where there was evil. he had to make you feel like what you were doing was evil before he can even introduce what he thought to be the truth and what he feels to be the truth. That's anybody. And if it gets to the point to where you independently feel like what the deed you're doing is evil, then you will not go to another man for help. Because as soon as you realize the evil deeds, you will instantly just stop doing them, okay? And if you can't stop doing them, that means that you are not truly feeling this deed is evil. So, in the case that Jesus came down to our planet, supposedly, and he started a movement, a spiritual movement, in which he was spreading nothing but good, true philosophy to a bunch of people who were insane. And this cast down evil, low spectrum world, he came here and he affected many people in his region. So since that happened, and after he died, trying to do his job and trying to spread these philosophies in a world full of evil, they killed him. And what they did after that is they created this fictional devil immediately. This is one of the first things that the popes and Constantine put on their plate. It's creating an enemy to bring together the falling Rome. Because their society was breaking apart at that part. It was like America when it first began. It was nothing but a whole bunch of split up states and shit. So what they wanted to do was bring that together to have more focus and concentrated power. What other way to do that than to use this very recent philosopher, very recent righteous man's image and to spread his image and then threatened or proclaim that there's a threat to this image being spread further under this collectivist system. Then you would bring so much fear and so much focus onto this enemy. And this enemy was called the devil, or the evil with a D in front of it. Satan. You have this enemy now. Before, Jesus never, ever even really thought about the devil. The devil tested Jesus, metaphorically. The devil tested Jesus. And he basically swiped that nigga off as if he was not the devil himself. Jesus treated the devil as if he was not the devil, because he is not. You see, once you give somebody the title and the environment, they have the right to do so what they wish. So as soon as Constantine and the popes decided to create this enemy, they in turn created a new system completely opposite of Jesus's, in order to bring their area and their landmass together through fear. Now, why is this important? I do not have time to hate anybody. So, Christianity, I see it as a very beautiful story. Very beautiful story. I do not hate anybody who would think this story could be real. It is a very drawn out and real story. They got very great people to write this story and book. Why can you blame them for this, okay? So let's go deeper into this. Beyond the hate, which is love. Knowing what we know, as adults, as people who are aware that these people actually believe in this. Just because you disagree does not give you a right to proclaim that these people are right or wrong. Anyway, to move forward, knowing that you need an enemy to bring these people together, and knowing that they chose this mythological creature called the devil to make people scared and come together and do what they want them to do. And over time, this is maturated and Christianity has become settled in. So this aspect has been in place of having a fictional hero come and spread a philosophy. He gets killed or he dies. They take the image of this fictional character, of this character. They take the personality of this character, put it in a written or rememberable form, and over time, they create enemies to this philosophy. Now you see that in order for there to be a system of religion, there must be an enemy at all times. In order for you to have Jesus and the doctrine of Jesus, there had to be the evil. Okay? So, while a Christian may hover around a Hindu and say, you're crazy for believing in all these gods. And the Hindu might come here and say, oh, how beautiful, you believe in all these gods. You think that you're not Shiva. Or you think that you're not Krishna. Stop playing this game with me, please, Shiva. In the same way you might have these two completely different responses, they're still an opposite in beliefs. Okay? So, with this opposites in beliefs, you have an enemy. Every opposite polar end is keeping the other end in balance, in check, and keeping it alive. If there was not any Christianity, there would be no Hinduism to this day. And that's facts. And I dare anybody to challenge me on that. If there was not any Hinduism, there would be no Christianity today. And that's facts. And I dare any one person to challenge me on that. So these are like atoms with a proton and a neutron and an electron. The story is the electron. The story is the neutron. It's the balance. It's the beginning. It's the original. And the proton and the neutron are the separate ends of the fucking neutron. Of the atom. Keeping each other in place, keeping each other from being unstable. You see, there is no difference between the two. They're on the same cycle, on the same paths, just at different times. Now, with this information in your brain, throughout your cells, throughout your muscles, flowing through your blood right now, reaching your heart, reaching your organs, reaching your muscles, you could understand that the original hypocrite is that in which man was completely honest with himself. Hypocrisy in its original form is nothing but a form of knock knock who's there. Or knock knock zoom, knock knock zoom. In a way in which someone will proclaim or claim to be something great and live up to this statue. And it is waited for when this person, that is basically prophesied, this person will come. This great person will come. And when they do, all the time that the people who've been waiting for it, when they do come, what do they do with this time? What do they do with this energy? They are hypocrites. They're completely honest. They are honest with themselves. The original hypocrite will walk up to you, tell you some information, completely contradict himself, and tell you that he's contradicting himself up front. For example, the Jews, they believed that there was going to be a new savior and God. Okay? Back in back in the early fucking BC or 2000 BC. After Moses came down, he proclaimed that there was going to be a new Messiah coming to save them forever. In this book that they proclaimed to be true. Quran. So, in this case, they waited many years for this to happen. And when figure similar to when what they believed to be the truth came, they did nothing but despise and hate him in the true form of the sense. You had some of them, convert over to Christianity, but they were so stuck in the old text that they were not even ready for the new text. Okay? This is something that they never hide. So when this guy came named Jesus Christ, and he reigned on earth, brought peace, joy, and done all these miracles that the Jews proclaimed would happen, instead of following along with the story that they knew would happen, they took the author's note. They said, no, this is not what our God said, because they wrote the book. They wrote the fucking prophecy and shit. Okay? Moses wrote the fucking book. Moses died. He left the book there. And at that point, they are in control of the fucking book. The people who believe in the religion are in control of the book. So, with this power in their hand now, were they able to let go of the current book and move on to the future to a new book? No. Indeed, they kept the power, proclaimed that the Jesus Christ that they've been waiting for, and the Messiah that they've been waiting for, all that time proclaimed that he was false. And that the Messiah they're waiting for is way better than that. Openly hypocrite, okay? Meaning that you saw the proof, they said something would happen, it happened, and in a way, they took the power and made something new out of it and said, nah, even though that's what our Quran said, we're going to disagree with that and continue to praise the Quran before we continue to praise our new Messiah. Very powerful gesture. The original hypocrite. Now, right now, in today's world, in which this hypocrisy have settled in for a very long time now, and we have let it maturate into our brains, to our muscles, and to ourselves. The hypocrisy. Now we are a future hypocrite. A hypocrite who cannot even face the fact that he's a hypocrite because he is ignorant of it. A type of hypocrite that is not in control. You see, back in the day when they did what they did, they were knowledgeable of it, aware of it. They chose to disagree with their doctrine by choice. Over time, as you continue to let other people come into your environment and spread things that you don't believe in or that you don't agree with, you in a way have a choice. You have a choice to manipulate the doctrine or belief that you believe in your own right, because you are a living being and you can perceive the doctrine as you say so, and this is something that nobody can take away from you. In reality, that's the truth, okay? Even though it might sound fucked up, if you read a doctrine and then 20 years later your great-grandson is alive, and he reads the doctrine and he sees something completely different from you, in reality, he will have more of an influence on that doctrine than you will at that point. So you have a very big choice when somebody invades your environment and brings in their beliefs with you. That's the first choice that I just named. The second choice is to be in a complete denial sense. You run away from the doctrine that you believed in at the time because in a way you just felt like it was wrong all that time. You were just in denial. And a person who's in denial is not focused on finding the truth. They're simply focused on denying what they think is currently the truth. So they will crawl to any other doctrine that supports that. You see, that's the future hypocrites in the cycle of denial. We have been forced upon to believe in these so many things, and we are not connected to the original doctrine at all. We've not had any updated doctrines that have been truthful, and we're scurrying everywhere to find anything that not only takes away the power of what we currently believe in, but seriously, deeply makes us not believe in ourselves. And the way to do this is to use science, which is not a form of finding the truth. It is simply a form of finding out what is not the truth. Okay? And we've used this mechanics for a very long time now. And this is the tool of the future hypocrite. The future hypocrite uses science as its main tool of hypocrisy, not itself. You see, a man will not walk outside and say, I do not believe in Jesus Christ. I do not believe in God. Okay? If their family has raised them up to be Christian, they will not do that. Or many people who even know these things, they won't go out and say it openly. Instead, you'll hear one of these two things. You'll proclaim that they are God, meaning that they not only don't believe in the doctrine, but they don't believe in it so much that they're confusing it and trying to make it make sense. So they take the power upon themselves to say that I am God. Or in a very naive way, you use science or a slippery way to go around and say, I don't believe in it. You have to find all these techniques, you have to find the proof, you got to find the numbers, just for you to have the confidence to say you don't believe in something. In a way, when you're doing this, you're proving your hypocrisy. Oh, how am I proving my hypocrisy? Just by using science. Because the whole religion thing is nothing but belief. Now, you can believe anything. Belief is nothing but a tool of inspiration. And then if you ask me, I would say it's a backup drive to intuition, to having a natural drive. It's a way for people who do not have this natural drive to get themselves this natural drive. So, belief, this is something that you can just throw away. This is something that you could use or not use. Simply, if you do not believe in something, you just proclaim that you don't believe in it. And you move on, finding the truth. But instead, the future hypocrite, and the whole point of me saying this, and for you to understand, the future hypocrite, they spend their whole lives not trying to find the truth, but trying to disprove something that they already don't believe in. Meaning that in reality, you do believe in it. You're just trying to convince yourself to not believe in it. Now, this is a very delightful joke to someone who may be, in a spiritual sense, free, seeing that everything's connected to each other and this is all just a game in a way, or a drama. Seeing the reality at this point, you would find this to be delightful and funny, because it will be like a child walking up to you with a sticky mouth and saying, hey, I want some candy. I haven't had any candy all day. And you can obviously see the sticky candy on their mouths from when they actually have had candy. And you have to say to them, no, you do not need candy. You already have some. You see, this is a joke because it's like when they walk up to you they're trying to prove to you that they haven't had any candy. In the same way, the future hypocrite is trying to prove to you that they do not believe in this religion. And by doing this, they come up to you and they ask very nicely, and they try to make you believe that they have not had any candy, or that they do not believe in this religion and doctrine, instead of simply going to get the candy themselves, which they cannot, because there is someone standing in front of them, or simply because they do not know how to. Instead of going to get the candy themselves, like they can, or like they will be able to do in the future, they obsess themselves with a way to persuade you to go get the candy for them, or persuade you to not believe in a religion and doctrine by persuading you that they have not had any candy, or that they will not believe in this doctrine, and making you believe that the doctrine is not real. Then you will start to act upon in a way that is not real, which will give them the courage or knowledge to do so themselves. You see? But this is a very strange way of doing so. Using science, which is nothing to prove the proof. Anyway, using science as a tool to prove that religion is not real is very destructive, because science can do nothing but find what is not the truth. It is up to the human being to take this information on what is not the truth, put them together in order to find out what the truth is, which is in a probability that will only happen 1 time out of 10, in which it will be found correctly the truth by using what is not the truth as a meter. And so the religious person using this science in order to prove that either what they believe in is true or not true, or it is halfway true, but we've been confusing it. In order for us to get this message into our head, what they do is use science. And if they are successful in their duty by using the science, what we will start to do is spread the science, because the science is now in us, and we will start to figure out what the truth is not also. You see, beginning a cycle all over again of what the other person was experiencing. That there is a hypocrisy. That you are doing nothing but trying to prove to yourself that this is not real. So, when do you actually get to the point? When do you actually get to the point till you realize this stuff is not real, and that you move on from it and find what's actually real, instead of being stuck on finding what is not real? This is up to you. It is up to you to simply have the courage to not believe without any scientific evidence. This is why we have cognitive dissonance. It is a natural scientific evidence. You do not need scientific evidence to believe something is not real, because belief is nothing but a tool. Imagine walking to a door and having a key, which is a tool, to open this door, right? And instead of using the key to open a door, you have a conspiracy in your head that the key is not really for opening doors, that the key is for opening yourself and letting the door into you. You see, this is the way that we view beliefs. We do not use beliefs in this accurate use of the tool. So, in reality, it is up to you to have the courage to simply not believe. And once you do not believe, simply, and you are void of belief, you will instantly, your body, your brain, it will go into overdrive to figure out what the truth is at this very moment in time. You see, if you spend all your time trying to disprove what the truth is, That's what your brain will focus on and think is the truth. It will think that what is not the truth is the truth because that's what you're focusing on in this belief system. In this belief system now, the tool that you're using instead of religion is simply science, a gauge to figure out what is not true. So the person who has finally realized that you do not need evidence to figure out something is not true or not, or to believe in something or not, he will go into overdrive to figure out what the truth is naturally, instinctively. You see, the subconscious does not like being ignorant. The subconscious likes to know what's going on. So it will go into overdrive, making your conscious focus on it, even consciously focusing on it, of what the truth is. You will start to experiment with things that you've never experimented before. Words, arts, beliefs, visions, physical arrangements. Because your brain is not stuck on this one thing, which is what religion is. It is nothing but a comfortable vehicle for you to drive your life through. Most of us like to be comfortable, but comfortability is nothing but a relative position. You cannot make everybody comfortable in one area because everyone has a different relative view of what comfort is. The original hypocrite would proclaim that everyone should know what the truth is. Knowing that everyone has a different type of truth, they would say this and have a war to figure out whose truth is actually the truth. But in today's world, what we've decided to do is to say instead, everyone should know what the truth is. And by that, we mean go outside of yourself and find out something. Go out in the world and ask somebody some questions. Read a book or something and to find out what the truth is. And then after you do that, after you're on a clique or a squad at this point of what you think to be the truth, instead of warning out because you know that this is idiocracy, instead of warning it out and choosing what you believe to be the truth, because you know that this is going to happen eventually, that if there is nothing but a dominant amount of people believing the same things, that there will be destruction of many of the rest of the ones that do not have the stronger belief system or simply cannot back up what they believe in. This is what the original hypocrite knew. But in today's world, they knew that the truth is nothing but what we make it. But in the future world, we think that the truth is something that is a mystery. And that you have to sit down and pick apart the mystery that already is. Meaning that there will be a whole bunch of dysfunction. There's a ignorance of your hypocrisy. You don't know that you're being a hypocrite because you're not choosing to be. You're literally being a hypocrite off of ignorance. And this is not something that is pleasurable at all. Because the original hypocrite would be able to back away from his beliefs. He would not invest his future inside of his beliefs in a way which would deter the future from being able to take its place in the way it's supposed to. Are you focusing on a belief system that is deterring your future because you do not know what your future will be? Are you scared of your future? Are you scared of your future? So you're settling for things in the past because you're promised that it will make you have a better future. Ah, ah. Thank you for joining. Have a good night.